All right, looks like we're live. It's Friday, August 28th. A little live coding at lunch today. I'm going to be exploring Pipedream again, and this time instead of working with Jotform in Google Sheets, I'm going to be trying to put together like a basic website monitor. So they have the ability to schedule cron jobs, which I haven't explored yet. So I'm going to set up something with that where it pings a website on a recurring schedule, and then maybe I can set up some responses depending on the response code that I get. So no real plan other than I know that that's what I'm trying to do, and we'll see how far I can get. So new workflow. Make this private to begin with, and I'll call it website monitor. Save that. Our source is going to be a cron scheduler. I don't know what our frequency is here. Every minute. We can do every minute, which will probably result in a number of errors if I start it with that. But let's give it every 5 minutes to begin with, and I can probably trigger it manually, though I'm not positive about that. So I'm going to save that. I guess it's not deployed yet, and it's going to run a job. So we'll do, I did find out you can search in here for, there's lots of different actions. I don't know. Okay, so Axios isn't in there. There's a number of services that I could use, but I guess I'll probably just run some code myself here, and we'll rename this steps.node.js. We'll call this steps.get website. All right, there we go. Well, that's what we're gonna actually do here. That's what I needed. Const Axios equals, and honestly I haven't worked with Axios too much before, so we'll require Axios, and I'm going to show my ignorance here and just grab some Axios examples. Axios get website. Just go to the Axios docs, honestly. All right, Axios, nice. All right, performing a GET request. That's what we want. Can we do it like this? All right, not using TypeScript there. Let's just grab a basic example. Oh, I'm not zoomed in here. There we go. Let's just see what we can do with some basic code in here. Now I'll probably add something to pass in the website dynamically, but to begin with, let's just do this hard-coded, get it working. Just go to my blog. All right, we'll console log everything. And you know what? Let's just see if that breaks, because that'll be a decent starting point. It's deployed. Oh, sweet. I can run it manually here. Run. All right. The step was trying to run the code. When the step ended, make sure you await all promises. Got it. All right. So, run. Oh, put await on Axios right there. Async. I'm in an async function, so I think I should await that Axios request. My bad. Await. Save. Deploy. Run. All right, sweet. So we've got our response from this step with info about the site. I think that's what we're going to want to We probably want to return the headers. Do we want the headers there? Well, the status certainly. I guess we don't necessarily status and status text. I could probably do this with a head request instead of a get, but we'll do a get to make it more realistic. All right, so let's get our code, and we will have our let result equal, and in here we'll say result. How do I do this with a? I should be able to do this. Whatever. We got result.status and status text. We'll call it status code. Status code equals. I wonder how this is my lack of, that's not going to work. I should be able to destructure this into a variable, but my destructuring is a little rusty. Did I spell it right? Destructure and assignment. Okay. I want to can I destructure into a nested variable here? Default values, swapping variables, parsing an array, ignoring some values, assigning the rest, unpacking object destructuring. Okay. Let A be assigning a to an. Sorry, I'll zoom in here so that I'm not the only one looking at this. Oh, there we go. I think this is what I want. A property can be unpacked from an object and assigned to a variable. Well, no, I don't want to give it a different name. I want to assign it and then nest the assignment here. Got user. All right. That's there we go. Nested object and array destructuring. Okay, let title English title. Okay, let me grab this. This is didn't expect this to be work on destructuring, but let's just mess around with it. I'd rather do it that way and get some practice doing it that way. Obviously, we just copied and pasted here. So we got response, and we're gonna let. So is this nested here? I don't want to rename that. Let's look at the example again. Okay, so title. Oh, I'm equaling that. I'm pulling that out. Nested object and array destructuring. All right, computed property names like on object literals. Key equals A. All right. Oh, I should be able. I didn't think I was going to get bogged. You know what? Let's Rather than getting bogged down with this, I will have to do this separately, because this is not a destructuring lesson, and I'm going to waste most of my time on that. All right, so actually, well, response.status. And honestly, so that we can do destructuring later, let's just do it the same. Or I could have, all right, let's get it working first, and then we can optimize. So I don't need to log that. Actually, why don't we don't need to do anything with the response there. Assuming it's success, let's grab the Axios docs here. All right, const. Don't need that. Don't need the comment from Axios. Let response equal. Do not need to log it unless we're debugging. Don't actually need to catch the error here. Let's just throw. That's kind of redundant there, but I can use it for console logging otherwise, and I don't need a then on it in this case. So then we have a response, and we will then say const status text equals response. Now the issue here is going to be if where's my unexpected token coming from? 1312. Const status text equals. All right, object destructuring. Well, I need to do the default values, so I'll grab that in a sec. Oh, Matt reversed it. Nice. Status text equals response. And in here, we'll give it a default. The status is going to default to 0 because we're going to default it to an error. And we're going to default the status text equal to error, because that shouldn't happen, and we'll react based on it. Now, if I want to define those as I'll just return. I'll just return them here. Return status text. See how that goes. Deploy it. Run our test. Make sure Matt didn't break the code. He did. Cannot destructure property status of undefined. All right, so response is undefined. Why is response undefined? I'm awaiting that. That's not try catch. It's just, I don't need to chain a then. It's if I wrapped it. Okay. So let's just await an Axios.get, save, deploy, retry, and we're good. All right, so we have our 200 and our OK returned from this. Now we need to do something based on this. Now the question is whether I want to add this to the current step or set it up as a separate step. So one of the things, yeah, well, all right, what other actions can we add here? We have our response. So let's see if we just say email. Send yourself an email. Let's take a look at this here. All right, so one of the, actually, if anyone from Pipedream sees this, one of the things that would make this easier, and in general some things, is Boolean options to bypass steps, which might be in the roadmap, honestly, but for now, I think I have to kind of handle it myself. So what we can do in, should we do this in the get website or should we do it as, let's separate our logic here. We'll do this and we'll say, we'll call this determine error. And what goes on here will base on the result of that. So we'll say, const, or how do we do, gotta look down here and see how we define params. Const options equals params dot, okay. But no params are coming into here. This will be the next one. Okay, so we'll say if what is it? Steps dot get website dot return value dot status is 200. Return false because there's no error, else return true. Enough logic with that for now. Could probably name that better, but we'll save that. And then in our email me step, we will say website down exclamation. We'll have a variable here for the website name eventually, but for now we'll just do the status code and the status text. So that would be steps dot get website return value status and status text. So that's the subject text. I think the website is down. Or let's add Pipedream in here. Pipedream thinks the website is down. All right, that should be good. Oh, now here, this is the this is where we have to modify the email step, which, I mean, we have the flexibility to do it, so that's really nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, edit the code. It'll be customized for us. They'll warn us about it, and that's fine. And we'll say if, and in here we'll say steps dot determine error dot return value. I don't think it's just, yeah, it's a Boolean. So if it's true, it means if there is an error, and I should probably rename that so that that's clearer, we will send this email. So let's cut that out, drop that in here. Wish we could format. That would be nice. Let's rename this step here. Step contains error. Save that. References to this will be broken, but I think it's just the one here in email. Steps dot contains error. Save. And I don't necessarily need, oh, HTML is required. Why is it required? If params.html, well, I could drop that. Let's just comment it out. or make it the same. All right, so we're not going to include collaborators for now. We'll kill this. You can see on the side here that it's still running. Not erroring, I guess. Um, and then if params.html, it thinks that that's required. And you know what, for our initial testing, I'll just make it the same. And I could add this variable somewhere else, but that's good enough. So I guess, I mean, for number one, when I deploy this, nothing's going to happen because the website is up. So I need a way to check if something is down just to confirm that that workflow is working. So let's do this. Let's find, I know there's services, return, oh, there's like a status code as a service? No, REST endpoint as a service. No, what is it? Oh my goodness. Return status code website. My search foo is failing me here. This one, or is this to show it? There's definitely a website out there. I've seen it before, and I just haven't used it often enough. Where it's just return status. It's a terrible search. Mozilla, how to use them. 2, 3. Ah, here we go. Nice. Okay, I believe this is it. All right, so there's our 200. So that's an okay. So if we do 400, bad request. So I can update my monitor here, and I'll just add this as a comment because it's helpful for testing. If I drop this in here and save it and deploy it, I should get an email triggered when I run this test. And I don't, oh, interesting. Oh, I need Axios, okay. I need to work around that in Axios because it's fine. It's fine if it returns a 400. I just want to know that it returned a 400. Maybe I need, okay, so if I, how do I do this? Request get, delete, put, get URL, request config. All right, URL, method, base URL, transform request headers, params, serializer, data, timeout with credentials, adapter, auth, response type. Lots of options. Lots and lots of options. I might just need to do a try catch around this. Okay. When using catch, we're passing a rejection callback as the second parameter of then. The response will be available through the error object explained in the handling errors section. Okay. All right. Catch function if error.response. Using the validate status config option, you can define the HTTP codes that should throw an error. Resolve only. I don't think I want to do that. Let's grab the .catch options here. Tack them on and see a lot of stuff here. Okay. If error.response, the request was made to the server and the server responded with the static code that falls outside the 200 range. That's fine. Because that's actually what I'm checking for. Let's just, Okay, so we know what's happening there. It's just console log error.response and see what we have in there. The request was made, but no response was received. Error.request is an instance of the XHTML request in the browser. All right, I'm not sure what would trigger error.request, so I'll have to handle that. Actually, I can handle all of these. If it's an error.response, I think I want to actually work with it. Otherwise, I'll set up something else. Something happened in setting up the request that triggered error console log error.message. And then console.log error.config. Don't think I need that. Still delete that. Save. And deploy. All right, what do we got going on here? To actually test it. Okay. Where's our console log? Console status 400 status text bad request. Okay. Now this is my rusty JS. I have this catch here. Can I just return that error.response? I don't know if I can. Response. Not sure if this is possible, but we'll give it a shot. Just general lack of experience in that regard. Save, deploy, run now. Okay, so I think that ran successfully. Question is, am I going to get an email based on it? And I will tell you if I do. All right, sweet. You know what? Let me open up. Open up my email and I'll just show you what I got here. So I got that email. Actually, I don't need to show you. I got the email from Pipedream. Let's just do, saying that the website is down, generated by the workflow, and it has the 400 bad request in the subject line. Okay, so very cool. That's actually working. That's super helpful. We have a basic workflow running here with the cron job. Now, what I wanted to do, or one of the things I wanted to do to make this a little bit more flexible, was to hook it in to the Pipedream SQL store, which I also have not used much. So first time for the cron jobs. So what I figured I could do is if I listed the websites that I wanted monitored in the SQL storage within Pipedream, then I could loop over them, check any number of websites, and make sure that they're up. So I don't know. Let's see. SQL. Pipedream, send JSON to Pipedream SQL service, run a SQL query. I'm probably going to need to do this in 2 steps here. Pipedream, respond to SQL query results given. Okay. Pipedream, CSV for SQL. Let's say Pipedream automatically generates so I'm not going to do that. Let's run a SQL query. Connect Pipedream. Aha. Okay. Well, this is within my own account, but I need to make a connection here. So I'm going to drag this off the screen for a sec because I don't want you to see my API key. Where's my mouse? All right. So I'm going into my account settings, grabbing my API key, adding that value, and giving this a nickname. And I don't know what to call it other than just Pipedream SQL. So saving that. All right, and I can bring this back now. And I've authorized it to access my SQL here. Now, SQL query to run. Now, I don't have any tables in here, so let's just save the workflow as it is. And let's turn this off for right now so that it's not just continually running. And we'll hop over to SQL. Now there's that testing job form. I'm not going to worry about that. So I need to, I need to create a table here. Let's, well, didn't mean to expose that. I'll have to go back and wipe that. Or revoke that token. You know what I'm going to do? All right. Such is life. I'm going to revoke that token before I forget and update it. Settings. Revoked. Got a new one. Okay, workflows, website monitor. Hop down here, and we will reconnect sources. Okay. All right, just gonna reconnect that Pipedream SQL with the new not exposed API key. Such are the perils of live streaming. And then we'll hop back. Okay, new API key. Saved. Okay. We're back. We're saved. Now I don't have, okay, so I need to make this table myself. That's kind of annoying. Create. My SQL is actually not terrible, but let's see what we got here. Oh, that's helpful. Sending data to a SQL destination, running SQL queries, downloading results, limits. So let's look at running any valid SQL query. Oh, there we go. Well, that's broken. That's broken. Let's search for SQL here. Okay. SQL payload. Send it like that. Can make the table like that. I'm assuming I can just create the table on my own. Let's just try this. SQL create table. Yep, that's all I want. All right, let's see if it lets me. SQL create table. Table name will be website. I mean, let's namespace this. Monitoring websites. Should probably give it a different namespace, and we will do ID integer. I don't know what my options are. And actually, we'll do name varchar and URL. And I think 127 will also be fine for that. Now, I don't know if it's going to let me create an auto incrementing column there. Oh, int, not integer. Oh, int, probably. Actually, and depending on what SQL engine they're using, yeah, let's just do that to begin with. See what our result is. we going to get a result? It might not want me to do it this way, or there may be an error in what I have running. Seems like we're running a little bit too long here. Okay, let's hop back to our workflow, website monitor, and let's just take a look here before, okay, we'll do SQL, send JSON. All right, so Pipedream automatically generates a table and dynamically updates the schema based on the shape of the events you send. Each event is converted to a row. Navigate the SQL tab to query the data. Okay, so let's just have our website monitor create the table for us. Well, I don't want it to create, okay. I wonder if I can have it just make sure that the table exists. Let's just look what other steps we have in here. SQL, run query, respond, Pipedream, sends, okay. Let's see if we can do this. We'll get rid of this step that I was just trying to do. Don't need it, go away. We'll see if this breaks it or not. Continue. We're just gonna send a table name here, save. And I assume that it won't create this multiple times, it'll only create it once. I guess we'll find out. And what did I call it? Monitoring underscore website. Websites. Save that. I guess that's off. It just ran. It's kind of weird. I don't know why that ran. Because it should be off. Not sure. All right, so steps, this is the query step. We will delete the query step for a second. Save that. We have our get website here, minimize. We know that the rest of this is being handled fine. So let's just deploy this and see if it creates that table for us. And then if it does, we'll see if we can add, records to it. Okay, so it's not showing yet. Because there's an undefined value for the payload, so that did not work. All right, well, we'll delete this. There's a modified step anyways. And what else are we gonna do here? We'll do SQL. Send JSON to Pipedream SQL service. I don't want it to, okay. Let's look at the code of this step, because maybe we just modify that. Oh, well, there's not a lot of code. It's just sending the SQL with the payload. Okay, undefined. You know what? Maybe I can send an empty payload, and then it'll just make sure that the table is there. Save. Payload's empty. Monitoring websites. That's not how you spell websites. Websites. Save. Deploy. run. All right, so that ran successfully. So I'm assuming then we're going to have a nice empty, I was assuming we'd have a nice empty table there. Code sent that table with no payload. Maybe it didn't create the table since there was no payload. That's probably what's going on. All right, so we could create that data. We could create that data separately with a separate workflow, which probably, I mean, it is kind of independent of this. Adding the step to check for it wouldn't necessarily need to be the first step here. So let's kill that. We'll save what we got. I keep getting emailed because it's checking the 400 website. So we will do, we'll switch this back to my website so it's not emailing me. Save, deploy. I don't know why it's still running though, because the schedule is off. That's a little bit, maybe that was the one I just tested. Maybe it's fine. So there's no schedule, that's all good. We will hop into workflows, make a new workflow. And what would the source be here? This would almost be no source. It would be, so a thing that we might want, just is in general, maybe would be a manual source, because it doesn't seem like we necessarily have that. Maybe that's from any app. All right. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. Can I edit this URL, or am I going to be stuck with this URL that was just shown live? It's kind of cool here. You know, I can just use this right now and then delete it. I don't want to do that though. Well, why not? All right, so I also haven't worked with this HTTP endpoint trigger. So we'll say send test event. And this one does not have a name right now. So test. I'm assuming, so what did it do? It posted those values. Oh, very cool. Okay. So would I then, if I was going to edit this, I would just edit these this way. Very cool. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, you know what? I'll do this and then I'll just duplicate and modify the workflow. We'll say we want to add a new website. So what we need is, let's delete you. Let's delete you. We got a URL and URL and a name. So I don't even know if we need a name. The URL is name. I'll just remove the protocol. All right, HTTPS. All right, so that's our source. We're sending this name and URL. So now it knows what we have. And then we'll say SQL, send JSON to the Pipedream SQL service, table name, monitoring websites. And you know, we can name this now. And we will call it add website to monitoring, save. Table name and the payload will be from the trigger, steps, trigger, context, no, event, body. Well, email and IP address aren't actually, let's just say body. I don't think those other elements should actually be there. So that's what's getting sent. And that's all we really want. So we'll save that. Deploy it. Send a test event. Okay. I did not notice here. Navigate to the SQL tab to query the data. Note that it can take a minute to load into the database. So if it shows up there from before, so say this is the one I just made. Monitoring websites. Select star. Let's give this a minute here since it just ran. I'm wondering if this. I'm wondering if monitoring websites was created when I sent that empty payload before. It's quite possible that that's what happened. So I'm hoping that I didn't mess that up. I wonder if I could probably drop the table and start over. I think in this case, I'd just give it a different name for this. But we'll let it run a couple more times just to see what happens. Yeah, this is probably my empty payload table. Well, it shouldn't really matter, I wouldn't think. Hop back to workflows. Add website to moderate. That was successful. All right. There we go. It's back. So let's just do select star. Do I have to select? Oh, do I need a derp? Select name URL from monitoring websites. Can't spell that today. And we got our result. Cool. Now, I guess this doesn't matter. Cool. We'll use this. I'm gonna turn off that workflow so it doesn't accidentally make anything. Hop back to our monitor here. And as our first step, we will query SQL. We are connected to Pipedream. And we've got our query. Yeah, that's what we want there. Save that. I'm assuming that it returns all of the results from the query. I guess we'll see what happens. So in here, what we'd want to do is say something like for website of, and this would be steps.query. Does that just give it to me as the result? I guess we'll find out. You know what we can do in this case? We can just log that and see if it works. Console.log website.url. See if that works. No, we'll log both. Save, deploy. run, and we'll see what I broke. Steps.query is not iterable. All right, so what are we actually getting? Steps.query, oh, return, okay, so that was just the autocomplete. We want this path. Did I copy it? Copy path. We want this. Save, deploy, rerun. And let's see what we get. Nice. Steps.query. So the console, we got a bunch of undefined here. That's not exactly what I wanted. Results was an array. That's what I mean. That's what I expected. Name URL. Oh, so that's the interesting. Oh. So in the results that I got, the first row is the table, like the columns, and the second row is probably the empty values that I sent in that initial query. So I need to clean up that data. But as a workaround, I can say, all right. Oh, but they shouldn't all have been undefined, because it was, the values were there for, all right. Var. Let's just try that. I feel like that. Minimize the code here. I feel like that should have worked. Let's try this again. I mean, this is the last step, and then we'll have a basic structure for monitoring website uptime that we can have run every. I could have it run every minute. I mean, I'd probably run out of my time with Pipedream, but I mean, even every 5 minutes is pretty great. Okay. All right. So what am I breaking here? Let's just blah blah blah. Column info. Don't need that. CSV location. Don't need that. Results. These are arrays of arrays. These are probably arrays of arrays. So, okay. All right. You know, let's just log this. Log what we think we're working with. And then once it's good, we'll loop over that the way that we want to. Because I should be able to wrap this up pretty quickly, I would think, given that everything is okay. Yeah, it's an array of arrays. All right. Not the end of the world. Where's our log? Here it is. Okay. So, all right, for var row in results. Let's just do this one step at a time with a lot of logging. rather than guessing, let's just log till we get it right. Not helpful. We know we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have to reference this. Gross. All right. Oh, Can we say let let name URL equal? Let's just see if that works. This is probably going to break, but most things that I do probably break. Is that deployed? Did I deploy that? Syntax error. What did it not like? Oh, silly me. See, broke before I even deployed it. All right. Execution in progress. Lots of undefineds. Oh my goodness. You know what? When I jump ahead of myself. Okay. Well, this is what happens. Sometimes you go one step at a time. Right, okay. So that is an array. This here is an array with those two values. So, all right, so we're gonna have to jump back to destructuring because I really should be able to do this. And it's probably just me messing up the, do I need, because I'm working with an array, not an object. Derpy derpy doop boop boop. Okay. You know what? I was right. Ish. All right. This, I believe, should work. And did I deploy it? I think I did. Hop back to our get. And URL, no, nice, perfect. All right, so we have our destructuring here with the result works. And what we'll do is, now actually, if I had more than one website running here, this would be a problem because what I'll need to do, and I'm not going to do this right now. I mean, it only sends one email, so I would need to aggregate the results, which would involve reworking this a little bit. Not the end of the world, certainly doable, but not while I'm live streaming today. So I know that I only have one site in there. So we'll just get it working this way. All right, what am I doing here? Is that what I wanted? I think that's what I wanted. We've got our URL. And we'll say, this is hacky, but you know what? If URL to left in JavaScript. Is there not a left? Is there only substring? It's not what I meant to do. String.slice and substring. slice begin and end. Okay, and that gets root and the substring too. Sorry, learning JavaScript on the fly here too. Substring takes 2 from 2. Seems very similar. All right. We're going to say if URL dot slice start at 1 or 0. Slice begin start at 0, 0, end, and the number is HTTP at 5. Equals HTTPS. Then we will run the check. Otherwise, we won't. All right, save that. And we need to actually use the URL in here. Let's deploy that and see what we've broken. Cannot read property slice of, I guess we'll need to do if URL, oops, if URL end, maybe, for that undefined row where I messed up my own database here. Now, honestly, what might be easier to work with in this case is you could actually hook this up to a Google Sheet or something like that, where you have maybe some more defined control over the records that you're checking. That actually probably would have been a better approach, but I wanted to mess around with the SQL store here. So we have an error. Reference response is not defined. So I'm assuming that maybe we end up with the nothing was returned and we don't have a console log. Let's just say console.log. Let's make sure that we're oh, well, no, that should work because we're not going to get down there yet. Oh, but maybe if that, All right, so one of the complications here is that we're overwriting response. Since we're doing this multiple times, there's the headers row and the null row and the row that we actually want to work with. So that could lead to response not being set at the end, but this should, maybe my slicing is wrong. Starting at 0. No, let's log this. Oh, but it probably didn't get there. All right, so slice is from 0. The second one is end optional. The position up to but not including where the end. Submit it. Okay. 0 to 4. Well, let's just log this first. I'm learning my lesson here. All right, log that. And let's just see. what a messed up here. All right, can I recovery slice? No, that's fine. URL HTTP. No, so 5 was right. If URL and URL slice 5 equals HTTPS, save, deploy. So we should be running it on that URL that we're checking. All right. Let's just see. I mean, we're pretty close here. Snip query. Here's our error. Response is not defined, but our log. So our log was the website URL. It was only logged one time. Well, I mean, I can't do a can't do a const within this. First of all, because I'm in a loop and that doesn't make any sense. So that ran. Response should work properly then. Let's just log everything that's going on here. Have to run it. All right, I'm going to need to wrap this up soon because I've been going over an hour and that's a little bit longer than I had planned on doing this. Query, okay, so what did we log? Return values, no return values for exports in this step. Oh, interesting. Response is not defined. Well, I'm assuming that's 23, so that's down here. And I don't get any of the logging from above it. Actually, let's get, oh, does it? Okay. I think the problem, is the problem here that it, no, but Axio should know that the URL is this, should know the value of that URL, right? It's weird here that I'm not getting error logging when it gets down here, because you'd think that it would, up here, it would get caught. Okay. If URL and URL slice 5. So we know that this is running because this runs every time. Just make sure we're logging that URL. Then we know that this response is running and we're catching the error. If error response, log error response. Else console log error with error message. Which is that actually what's happening down here? Let's just do a regular console.log. Oops. Just to see if that's what's actually going on. All right. Run now. Well, at least see where this code is failing. Okay, do we have any error logging? So we know that the website logged, and then it just breaks. We know that this is happening. We're waiting for that. And then reference error response is not defined. Huh. last thing I'm going to check here. And then I think I'm just going to wrap it because this actually needs some more substantial refactoring if I want to pull a list of the oh, you know what? I could actually what am I doing? I could update the query. Okay, well, you know what? I could update the query to only pull the URLs that begin with HTTPS so that I wouldn't need to do it on the code side, which would be preferable, I'm sure. Okay, steps not get. Nothing logged. All right. So what I'm going to do here is roll this back. X. No for loop. I mean, we got that working. Actually, I kind of want to we'll comment that code out. And we'll just get this up and running with the hard-coded value again. Because, like I said, I think I'd want to, if I was going to do it with a loop, I'd want to refactor more of the project. So let's just run it this way. We can actually, we have this table here, but we don't really need it. So let's simplify it by removing that step. And we will run this now. Make sure it's not broken. That worked. Nice. And I think the only thing I need to check now is that we have the contains error code here, and this is given a triple equal for 200, and I probably want that. Save, deploy, run. Just there we go. All right, so that's up and running. I'm gonna switch this to run every 5 minutes. Save that, deploy it. All right, so we went down some rabbit holes, but honestly, I mean, I think within 35, 40 minutes, this was up and running as a website monitor. So it'll be interesting. Also, I want to see what happens when it gets triggered. Obviously, I could include more information about the website based on what's running here, but it was not all that difficult to get up and running, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think most of the difficulties were with my own coding shortcomings. But there you have it, a website monitor with Pipedream, running every 5 minutes, checking to see if my blog is up, and emailing me if it's down. I'm pretty happy with that. So thanks for tagging along. Have a happy Friday and a good weekend. Bye.